Russell Westbrook. You love the Philadelphia Eagles. Let me get a hell yeah!
What's going on, guys? It is Dives, Mr. Crockpot on Twitter. Welcome to Party on Broad. The Party on Broad podcast can be found on iTunes and Spotify. Leave a review. Hit that subscribe button, guys, if you're watching us here at the Painted Lines YouTube channel. Today, we are talking about Tyson's number 8 NHL draft prospect, 6-foot pure shooter named Alexander Holtz. We're going to talk about his 2019-2020 season, discuss his strengths, weaknesses, and how he projects in the NHL moving forward. And joining me today is our hockey expert, Tyson Quibell. Make sure to give this guy a follow on Twitter at QuibellTyson. How you doing, Tyson?
I'm doing all right. Excited to talk about the best goal scorer in the draft.
Yes, sir. So, all right, Tyson, talk to us a little bit about this net getter, Alexander Holtz. Who is this guy as a hockey player?
He's a pure sniper, pure and simple. So if you look him up on YouTube, there's some goals in multiple international tournaments or even playing against guys way older than him where you'll just see him get open for 2 seconds and shoot and it's in. And so that's kind of him in a nutshell. He's a pure sniper. He can kind of score from everywhere. And he does a really good job of creating space for himself to get off that shot. But that is his MO, literally. And so you look at him and you're like, that's what he does. So whatever team is going to draft him, that's what they're going to get, a goal scorer, period. So that is Alexander Holtz.
All right, let's talk about this guy's strengths. From the little bit I've done, obviously, this guy thrives at getting the puck into the back of the net. Talk to us about Alexander and his strengths at the next level.
Yeah, his release is nuts. It's already NHL caliber. So a lot of times, he'll tee up from the hash marks. So he won't even be past the face-off circle, and he's taking shots because he's used to them going in. So he loves to use kind of a curl and drag to create some extra space for himself or use defenders as a screen. He does that really, really well. We say a pure goal scorer. He's also a good skater. So it's not like he's like the super slow guy that just has a good shot. He's not Ilya Kovalchuk at this point in his career where literally that's pretty much all he does is just shoot. He has a decent skill set. The thing about him is you just kind of know that you're getting a one-dimensional guy. The thing is he's so good at goal scoring that you're like, yeah, but that's okay. There's a handful of guys that you look at where you're like, I don't care if you are, defensively lapsing. Like, reality is, yeah, I give you the puck in the slot and you can just get a shot off and score even a quarter of the time. We're doing well here. So in the instance of Holtz, he's not bad at other areas of his game. It's just that one area stands out so strong. It's really funny to read scouting reports or listen to podcasts from other people about it because it's like they move on so quickly from him. They're like, well, what about Alexander Holtz? It's like he scores goals from anywhere and then just moves on, basically. But there's other aspects of his game that I like too. I mean, he's dominated at every level he's been at, more or less. I think I mentioned talking about Lucas Raymond earlier in a different podcast, how Raymond and Holtz were ranked 2-3 at the beginning of the year. And Holtz was just given a bigger opportunity early on. So he actually put up better stats than Raymond did and had a good amount of goals and a decent amount of points. And so he showed that he already can play against men and be successful when given the space and time. And so, yeah, he just has a lot going for him. He looks like a top 6 scoring winger at the NHL level pretty quickly here.
All right, let's move on to weaknesses. What are some areas that Alexander Holtz needs to improve on?
Yeah, I mean, he could work on his defensive awareness. I think, for him, he likes to he uses his on-ice intelligence well to find open spaces to get shots off. Some of the issue becomes, for him at least, when he's got to transition back defensively. And so there's moments when he can be considered a semi-liability. But it's weird. Sometimes people are like, well, that's a liability. But you're like, yeah, he's also getting ready to someone else has got him to get open to go the other way if it transitions back. So, but in some ways, that obviously is something to work on. And I think, too, a question that some people always have about a goal scorer is, can what he has been able to do, especially against his peers, translate a league up? And so that'll be the question when defensemen are on him quicker. If they're able to stifle his shot, can he generate at the level you would hope? And I think in many ways it'd be good for him to generate higher shots, that'd be really helpful.
All right, let's move on to best fits. Which NHL teams would be the best fit for Alexander Holtz?
Yeah, I've said this team a lot, and I'm assuming it's because they're terrible. But Buffalo Sabres, I keep bringing them up because they're around that range. But they really need some goal scorers, and so depending on where Lucas Raymond gets taken, I think he'd personally be a better fit since he's a better two-way player. But pure goal scorers, I think Buffalo would be a good fit for him. I mentioned New Jersey as well recently. New Jersey would be a good fit. Based on that range, I think he'll go between probably 6 to 10. The other teams likely in that Chicago. Chicago does need some. Well, they also need everything, so I think they could benefit from him as well. But I do think a team like Buffalo or New Jersey would be good fits. I mean, I always like when a young player has the ability to step into a lineup fairly quickly, and I think he's also at least a year away, and then be given an opportunity to succeed. So as a player like him who can snipe, I think it works well for his development if he's in Buffalo and Jack Eichel's just giving him these soft passes through the slot and he's already open. Or in New Jersey, if Jack Hughes and Nico Hischier are doing the same. Because Holtz, I didn't mention this, but he can score off the rush too. Whether power play or off the rush, he's just he knows how to do it. So he's just kind of this good, perfect fit. So if he finds himself in an opportunity with a team that's desperate to throw him in there early on, an opportunity, I think that'll be good for his development. So I think New Jersey, Buffalo, Chicago are probably the best fits. Though this is an intriguing one I want to leave on this, is that I've been doing these mock drafts. Haven't written one yet for the Paint the Lines. I've probably done 200 of them now because I'm constantly unsatisfied with the way players are going, because there's these situations where a GM will normally take a player. You know, GMs always have leanings of what type of player, what league even in hockey they want to take in. So like Stan Bowman, for example, Chicago Blackhawks, loves to take players from the Canadian Hockey League in the first round, loves to take Europeans and a lot of the rest of it. But then he has a couple exceptions based upon countries and talent. And then I'll look at it and be like, oh, man. So I get caught in my own head. But Montreal drafted Cole Caulfield last year. Montreal, depending on how they do, in this playoff, and they're actually rumored. I don't know if the NHL is going to investigate or not. They've been rumored to be intentionally just kind of not caring. I don't know how else to describe it. There's been some really funny reports, some reports that they were really mad that they had to come back and play. Like all the other teams are like, let's go. Even the Blackhawks are like, Kane and Taves have won before. They're like, yeah, let's go. We weren't in the playoffs. Let's do this. And Montreal's like, we want to stay home. So that's been the rumor anyways. And Shea Weber hit their backup in the face with a puck yesterday and cracked his face open in practice.
God.
So you ever want to see that on YouTube? That's a fun one. That's a big no-no. And he's like their captain. Yeah. Anyway, this is a rabbit trail. But they drafted Cole Caulfield last year, who was probably the best goal scorer in that draft. And he supposedly is not going to be an NHL player for another year. But if they drafted Holtz, and if they end up in that 10th spot, roughly, which they could, and he's still available, they could have Holtz and Caulfield and overnight go from this team that has no pure goal scorers to 2 pure goal scorers very, very quickly. And that would be a very intriguing 1-2 first line, second line, right wing punch between those two guys. So I think that would be fun to watch. We'll see if it happens.
All right. That is my man Tyson. Follow him on Twitter at Quaybell Tyson. Lock it down to thepaintedlines.com for everything Flyers draft and hockey draft. Man, thanks for joining, Tyson. For myself, for Tyson, thanks for watching. Stay awesome.
Sixers win it! Wow! Oh, man, Embiid just posterized Russell Westbrook